This is training number 3 for us. It will be the quickest one. It's really kind of a review of some stuff. We're excited to probably catch up with you guys down at the national sales meeting at the end of March. Today, I'm primarily going to do some PowerPoint sharing and just kind of talk about a few things to put into your pocket. We'll go over all of these ad nauseum over the next many months and years, kind of talking about STAX and a way to approach as you start looking at some target sign companies. I know that there's been some quoting activity already. The one piece of housekeeping from an update standpoint is the quoting tool that we introduced last week and shared with everybody is live and ready for you all if you haven't tried it yet. In the short term, before we have inventory into your facilities, like we always said, we want to fill any drop ship orders, or at least let you get some quotes out. And if we have an order to fill, we're going to do that from Wichita. So what we did is code in a basic shipping cost so that you don't have to fill that out. So that'll cover the shipping costs because you're not shipping from stock and it's a drop ship situation. We'll go ahead and each of those quotes, you'll affect your module price, and then from there we'll tack on a shipping cost to get it to your customer. So that's just kind of a small update. You'll see that on your quotes, and everything should be good to go. You should feel real confident in selling STAX if you have any opportunities. So like I mentioned, I'm going to primarily share my screen. Again, if you have any questions, we have all the hardware here. I may jump to some of the pieces on this after we talk or in question and answer at the end. But without further ado, here's a little very simple PowerPoint, and I'm sharing the wrong one. A very simple PowerPoint that, and Kale, give me a thumbs up if you're seeing it, that I kind of say, what's our path to success, right? So we've talked about the hardware. We did a little demo on the software and what to expect from Next LED. A lot of that goes into what we're going to talk about today. But what I'm primarily thinking about today and wanting to kind of touch on is just some general education on the industry and kind of some more talking point related features and benefits that I think is going to help you all be successful as you start to think, who should I be talking to about this? Because you guys have a Rolodex and probably do business with hundreds and hundreds of companies individually, from those that buy a few $100 a year to those that buy tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year of products from you. And as we know, the term sign shop is becoming really ubiquitous. So I want to decide, who should we really target and what should we be aware of when we get, early stage questions about STAX. So, the headliner is, what are the benefits of this product? What are the benefits to the sign shop, a little bit to the end user, but specifically today, when Florida Signs is asking me about STAX and why they should consider it, what are we talking about? So one of the biggest things in our industry right now is lead times. Our very first session, I told you about Onyx, our custom build product. Right now, we're delivering that in about 6 to 8 weeks. Our competition, which we will talk about a little bit more here, they're all about the same time. We've been hearing a lot of lead times growing and growing. So some competitors that used to be 6 to 8 weeks are now as much as 16 weeks to get a sign. And so when we think about a sign shop selling a $40,000 sign and having to put $20,000 down, even if they got a deposit from their customer, that ties up a lot of cash that's just going to sit there for over 2 months before they even get a product that they can deal with. And so lead time is probably the biggest benefit of STAX, and it's really something that's changing this industry. Installation flexibility. So I'm going to go through a few of these points, and then I'm going to show you some photos. But if you remember when we looked at this frame system and the STAX hardware, this is a 4-inch wide or less than 4-inch wide when it has a module on it. You're going to see that that installers at sign shops and fab guys at sign shops love this product. They're used to having to use, cranes to manhandle a giant pre-made sign from Watchfire or Next Onyx. And by using this modular system, it opens up a whole new world of how they build signs, how they install them in the field, and the types of flexibility it gives their crews. Turnkey is another big benefit. So when you're talking to a sign company, and whether they've sold 0 or 1,000 electronic message centers in their lifetime as a company, they know, and you need to be very confident, and we will prove this to them, that what they buy and sell to their end user customer is a turnkey. Great, it's easy to service, the support is out of this world. They get an amazing and easy to use software suite. They get an amazing and easy to use add-on that makes their software suite even more effective. And so there's nothing else they need to consider when they are buying a turnkey, supported for life, cellular for life, I should have mentioned, product that is designed to run as long as we keep it running, 7 to 10 years easily, and looking good. So they're going to the market with a very easy product to sell, and one that they can count on being supported by us, and their customer being supported by us. And like I mentioned, the software, the connectivity for life. I can't emphasize that enough. When we've gone to lifetime cellular data, that's not just free for us. We're carrying the burden of about an additional $1,200 to $1,500 in additional added value over most of our competitors who are offering 5 years of cellular connection. So right off the bat, we're coming to the plate with a $600 project content gift card and an additional up to 5 years or potentially 15 years of cellular activity that we're going to take care of. So that's a huge, huge benefit when you're looking at STAX versus something else. Like I mentioned, content and training we went through, but I can't emphasize that enough. We understand that these products are sort of a high maintenance product. You have to continually train people. They have turnover, and we want to be there to support it. It's not just, put up an ID cabinet and let the LEDs run forever. It's active, and we're here to make sure that sign company can feel really confident in selling. And then the last thing is, big margin dollars. So I've been talking this language for over a decade now, but a lot of sign companies are afraid to sell EMCs because they're more a graphics-based shop, or they do a lot of banners or the occasional static ID cabinet, but they're afraid of something that has a $40,000 or $50,000 price tag. And again, while they may not be able to get a 60% margin on a product like this, their margin dollars on a $20,000 sale, you can make eight grand additional to what you would have made just selling an ID cabinet by tacking this on. So now that this technology is coming full circle and getting more and more reliable, and you've got products like STAX that are easy to use and easy to count on, we're finding all types of sign shops having success and finally going, wow, I can really make a lot of money by selling these bigger projects, even though I've never done it, and I might not have a full parking lot full of crane and bucket trucks. So when I talked about some of the installation flexibility, this is something we will share with you all and put in our toolbox, but I'm going to just kind of go through a couple of pictures of jobs either installed or in shops, and kind of show you how some sign shops have done things differently than they might in a traditional sense. This is your very standard. It looks like it's a 4x8 or 4x10 maybe, STAX with an ID cabinet on top. The shop obviously fabbed the ID cabinet and then built that cabinet right into a STAX frame. And so when they go to install this, all they have to do is slide this whole thing over the pole. They could, and you'll see a couple examples of this, they could put all the modules in and wire it up in the shop and slide it over a pole guide. Totally appropriate. Otherwise, they might go take this out just like this, have the ease of transfer, and then put the modules in out in the field. Here we're just looking at the side of a sign body and showing the STAX controller mounted inside where they can access it. This is not using the controller slide mount, that we have available, but this is a simple on a little bit wider body sign, how they stuck their control box in. Here's a couple examples of installs in the field. So obviously in this case, I know this sign was a retrofit. So they just fit the sign. They took the frame out, it fit into this cabinet, And then they went ahead and installed the modules, as you can see, from a ladder. So they're not using their $300 an hour, Wilkie crane truck or bucket truck. They're just going ahead and putting the frame in out in the field, and then having a lower paid probably associate install the STAX modules. In this case, again, they built some of the STAX frame right into the body of the cabinet, and then they're putting that topper cabinet on while they're installing modules in the field. So again, kind of showing the flexibility of the product. These are two that I get asked about. I actually sent a quote this morning to somebody that was asking about a wall mount. One of the coolest things about these STAX frames is we've put mounting holes on all of the frame corners. So for a wall mount sign, you can lag this slimline cabinet directly into a wall. Again, our traditional cabinet would stick out about 9.5 inches off this wall, where this thing is flush mount. In this case, they likely put the control box inside the wall or inside the ceiling of the business. And all they had to do is get electrical and the first power and the first data cable out there. I know this one, this fab was done in-house. So they took a STAX frame, they built a custom chaser around it. I know this was an old retrofit of a theater. We all see these a lot. We're starting to see these a lot now. So they took a STAX frame in the shop, fabbed on an entirely new chaser series of lights with LED bulbs, and then they can lift and place in one piece out in the field, rather than having to try to fit a random sized message center into a hole here out while they're out in the field. So this is kind of a neat one that I think we probably should get a few more pictures of, but it's just, again, kind of showing the flexibility. And so when we talk about benefits, again, and we'll get to some of those competitive discussions on what kind of shops you're going to find out there. But this is one thing. These are, some of the benefits that a lot of times sign shops don't know exist until they start working with it. And some of our biggest champions as a company are fab guys and installers. A lot of them will reach out to us on Facebook or something and say, "Holy cow, I've been installing Daktronics for 20 years. This was amazing how much different and how much easier it was." And all it takes is them thinking outside the box a little with a new product. So let's talk about the competition. What are you going to hear when you call on your best competitors? What do you already know? I'm sure you guys, have talked to your customers about what they do with EMCs, or you've been in shops and seen signs on floors. I'm just gonna give you my take on what I've been hearing for over a decade and what we hear currently. Watchfire is the name in the business. They're a terrific company. You won't hear me say much bad about Watchfire ever. Their product is nice. Their pricing is generally near the top of the heap. But a good product and a nice software. One thing I think about Watchfire is that they are one of those companies that has really focused on promoting the quality of their hardware. My personal opinion is, when I drive by Watchfire signs, I don't know that they always look the best. I think that may be a software limitation or it's likely that, but otherwise, Watchfire is a terrific company. Their sales reps are active. They have the trucks. You've seen the demo trucks, and their dealers are very typically extremely loyal. One opportunity we have against Watchfire, and I'll get a little bit into opportunities probably after I summarize. But one thing you find about Watchfire is generally the biggest sign shops in any given market are probably a Watchfire shop, and so when you're the second biggest sign shop in a market, or third or fourth or fifth, and you're also telling me that you're extremely exclusively loyal to Watchfire, I have to caution shops like that about the pricing that the biggest guy in town is probably getting. So Watchfire absolutely plays favorites. I'm not telling you that's a bad business decision for them, but it's a fact of the matter for a lot of companies that if you're not that number one dealer in a market, you're at a disadvantage if you're selling the same product, because they're definitely going to take care of their number one dealer in a market over everybody else. Daktronics, obviously you've heard of. This is the biggest gorilla in our industry, but really in the custom electronic market, the 5x10s, the 4x8s, the 2x8s, churches, banks, and schools that we focus on, Daktronics has bigger fish to fry. Man, they're doing stadiums, they're doing international projects, they're doing major billboard business. They obviously still play in our area, but we do not run into them as a direct competitor nearly as often as we do like a Watchfire or some of the others. And I don't have, Daktronics right now is, I know for a fact, experiencing really long lead times, which tells you if the industry leader or the leader in the US right now is out to 16 weeks, it probably is cause for some concern. And I think that a lot of times Daktronics companies will get their major install business, and so those are some people that are like, well, they hired me, I get $1 million a year of install business to put up their stadium sales. They don't get any revenue on those sales because Daktronics sells those directly, but you can see why they might remain loyal when they have an occasional 5x10 or something like that. But really, we don't run into Daktronics outside of certain pockets in the United States. But again, a good company and a good product. I bunched these next three into kind of a bucket, and I would say they're kind of your along with Next, your third in terms of national revenue. Optech, Vantage, and ThinkSign. You'll hear about them differently in different necks of the woods. I think Vantage has some presence down in Florida, and certainly on the West Coast. They really don't do a lot in the middle of the country. Optech, again, is a West Coast company. They were, Optech really pioneered in a lot of ways the commercial digital signs. So they even probably beat Watchfire to the fold when it came to selling to sign companies and selling to the same markets we're selling to now. So they were early and often. Optech is a direct importer, so they bring in completed signs generally from China. They've done a good job with some national programs like Sonic, etc. Optech's pricing is all over the place. So again, it kind of depends, but we see them as a competitor, but one that if you're talking to a sign shop and that does some work in this, with Optech, Vantage, or ThinkSign, absolutely is a terrific target for us. These are the kind of companies that will look at something else. Sometimes they're price driven, sometimes they're feature driven. Vantage has a unique warranty that they use to get people engaged. I've heard good and bad things about it. And ThinkSign is in Louisville. They're more probably a price driven seller, but any sign company dealing with these three companies on this line or of the like are a great target for STAX. And the last one I'm going to mention is Cirrus. So Cirrus really brought this modular type system to the market about 6 or 7 years ago. I don't want to get too deep into how I feel about Cirrus, but I will tell you that Cirrus is our best salesperson. And I mean, sorry, Kendall, but Cirrus is our best salesperson. You can take that to mean what you will, but I think you'll find that Cirrus did an amazing job introducing the modular concept, getting certain companies interested in it. And then those companies seem to be really, 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 really receptive to a similar concept with a better delivery. And so that is where we are having a ton of success with STAX. You may find a couple very, very happy Cirrus dealers. You may find people that are buying Cirrus so cheap you can't believe it because they've been there for 7 years. More power to them. But we are finding a lot of success in building on the education Cirrus did on this type of system and delivering, what we think is a much better experience for sign shops and end users.
We found, just real quick, Brett, we found one of the best things to say when if you find out someone's a Cirrus dealer, if you ask them this simple question, how's your customer support been with them? Are you happy with the service you've gotten with them? And then don't say anything else. Let them talk. It'll be amazing what'll happen at the end of that. So as far as opportunities.
Kale, I'd like just to add to that is the best thing you can do is take a frame and module with you out to those customers. And I think Tracy saw that yesterday. Sears dealer had I don't know if it was 5x10 out in his shop. And he took us out there, walked us out there, showed it to us. Then he went out and looked at mine in that truck. And he goes, oh my, this is just more robust, much better sign. And I didn't even have to turn it on. So that right there, he told us that he had to put so much framing on it just to hang it, where he could save money just by using our frames.
And so I should have probably prefaced all of this. None of this is meant to be any sort of negative sell. It makes me really uncomfortable to ever speak negatively about a competitor. And I just freaking hate that in any facet of life. So I'm telling you what I truly believe are some differences and some opportunities. I think that you'll find, that people will echo some of the things I'm telling you. I will give Cirrus a ton of credit for having the balls to bring something like this to the market. They do have, some high ideals in terms of engineering and things. What we've learned by watching Cirrus in the market is that we're going to take something, make it strong as hell, take the components we've been using in our other signs, which is why the first thing I ever trained you on is what we've been building here for a long time. Take those exact same components, take the same control system, and then take the customer support approach to launch in STAX. So I do commend Cirrus on kind of pioneering this concept, but we kind of like the runway. So I think that you'll find that Cirrus dealers are a great opportunity to introduce STAX to as well. The demo program is something we may have mentioned, but formally, we will support any sign shop that is interested in purchasing a STAX unit for themselves. And so the program, we can get into the details of how it's executed from a purchase order standpoint, but any sign company that says, yeah, I've been thinking about putting a 4x8 up on my building, or, oh, I have this trailer, I wanted to maybe make a demo trailer for myself. If we approve that, and we'll lean on you obviously to approve that, we have a demo program where they will get 40% off the modules of any STAX unit. So we'll quote them at a discount. That would be about $360 a module. And then everything else stays the same just to make it simple. But we will put our money where our mouth is. We do want them to have skin in the game. We don't necessarily just hand out, $20,000 and $50,000 signs because somebody says they're going to sell a lot. But it is a great opportunity for a sign company that understands the power of the product and can really put their money where their mouth is, and then talk to their customers about it. We definitely want to support that. So that's another big benefit, and something that we've, in the last year, we've probably done 7 or 8 of these at sign companies around the country. One of the very first ones we did, a guy put 3 sides on the back of a pickup truck. So a simple, unique demo, but we're definitely there to support it at a cost that makes it really attractive to a sign shop. So who are target sign shops to have success with? It's easy for me to say all of them. I already alluded to the large custom electric sign shop that's the biggest watchfire dealer in Central Florida or South Florida or wherever Florida, and they all think they are the biggest, but you'll know who really is the biggest. Those guys are going to be tough. They're probably not going to leave you next week and stop selling watchfire and start selling STAX. I wish they would. I've been trying to get them to do that for 10 years. But think of it like this: the approach I take with the biggest shops in a town, and as you guys know, I don't need to tell you this, it's a unique industry in that there's not a million giant sign shops in any given market. It may be 10 or less that are really fully robust, all around custom shops. But for those biggest ones that say, oh, we're happy with watchfire, my grandpa started selling Daktronics 20 years ago and I'm still selling them. take the approach of, hey, not every job needs to be a watchfire job. You know, I'm not going to tell you to stop doing watchfire. You've obviously had success with it. But think about this. Next time that little church down the street calls you and needs a 2x6, is it worth quoting them? You know, because they're going to put up their mass times in a couple small messages. They still want something that looks great, but is it worth quoting them something that might cost 25% more, take longer, have less flexibility on a retrofit installation? So, you know, a lot of Cadillac dealers picked up Chevy as a brand as well, right? And so a lot of Chevy dealers picked up a secondary brand to supplement how they're going to sell, you know, they're selling products. And so I think an approach to some of these bigger companies that may have more of a standoffish, you know, reception when you introduce STAX, get them thinking outside the box. We're not looking for all their business. Try one or two. Try it on a small sign. Try it on a tough install. Try it on something where you need some flexibility. So introduce some of the ways you might use 1 or 2 STAX a year in their mind, and you might have some success. Smaller shops. So when we talk about smaller shops, I'm still thinking, you know, custom electric shops. They may have 1 or 2 bucket trucks, but they don't have a fleet. They might do a lot of service. They might do a lot of digital printing. They might do a lot of vehicle wraps. And maybe they were afraid of EMCs just because of the dollar amount. Maybe they're afraid just of the technology and they don't have the education. Those are great, great targets for us. Again, some of those photos I showed you are people installing STAX on ladders, not giant trucks. And so take some of these smaller shops that may do installs and may do sales well. Sometimes you can pair them together and say, you know, just by being a networker, solving a couple problems for 2 different kind of sign companies. But the ease of install makes smaller shops a great target. Again, the competitive advantage of not showing up at a bid with a watchfire with everybody else. You know, we have some customers that shout our brand from the rooftops and have for forever because they know it gives them a differentiation point in the market. So don't try to be like everybody else where the only way you can win is on price. Go to the market and sell the value of Next and sell the value of a STAX product. Aggressive growing shops. I mean, this is our bread and butter. If you see somebody that is thoughtful, interesting, maybe isn't 4th generation sign guy, or he is 4th generation sign guy and he's going to change the way things are done around the place. Our best customers are the 2nd or 3rd biggest shop in a market. They want that number 1 spot. They're looking for advantages. They're looking to move quickly. They're looking to sell and make money. You know, a lot of legacy big shops have so many legacy customers that they can live off bank brand changeovers and Walmart installs or national installs. But aggressive growing shops where you have guys that can sell, are interested in selling, you know, those are the number 1 people I would introduce this product to because we can help them make money. Franchises. So we've got some works. On the back end, I'll announce things when they're more formalized, but to support franchises at a corporate level. But we're finding a lot of success with fast signs, Signoramas, a multitude of brands, because a lot of these franchises used to just be a strip mall and some digital printing. They're starting to, these owners are getting more aggressive. They're sharing more information among each other, and they're starting to do some installs. They're starting to do some fab. And again, they're in the mix with a lot of business. They just haven't known how to sell LED historically, you know, as well as just custom shops. And so we're having a lot of success with franchises. This product in particular is an incredible way to introduce them to digital signage.
Sign World, Brett, we're having tons of experience with them.
And then again, serious users. So with serious users, I'll emphasize you won't be starting from square one with the education on a modular product. They'll already be familiar with it. You know, from a concept standpoint, All we've got to do is show some of the differences, some of the benefits of our product and our company. And I think you're going to have a lot of success when you start targeting or mentioning the product to companies that have used Cirrus in the past or are currently using them. So again, your whole Rolodex is in play. I'm not going to say that every single one's going to buy from you. My next slide is kind of talking about how you make money and how easy it is to be successful without hitting, batting 1,000, right? Looks like I lost my title. Oh, there you go. All right. So what does success look like? The way I kind of think of it is, you need a base business, reoccurring business. That can be 3 to 5 shops. So when you do business with 100 people, we're just looking for 3 to 5 that are actively moving a handful of EMCs a year. So let's say they do 100K a year in sales. That's 5 signs, 5 4x8s. So not even one a month. All of a sudden, you got $500,000 worth of business in this product. And so, I mean, it seems overwhelming when you see all these no's you might get in a list, but realistically, you just find those 3 to 5 active, and they may do most of their business. Their whole business might be EMCs. That's what we're finding, as we look around the country, just like people's whole business was digital printing and only digital printing for a long time. We're getting companies that are doing only this. We're getting companies that were only service companies. All they did is service, repairs and installs, but they still get asked a lot about sales because quotes are quick, installs are easy, and the concept is easy. They're becoming selling companies, and a company like that did primarily 90% of their revenue in service only, all of a sudden can sell five of these a year without even blinking an eye because they just know who to ask. And so that's what I would call a base reoccurring. If you can get 3 to 5 shops doing, 5 message centers a year or even 1 a month, you're going to be way ahead of the curve. And then you've got some home runs. So you will see this happen. And we have seen this happen in the course of our company's life, but especially in STAX, as it gets more and more common in the field, the brand becomes national. You've got multiple people selling it. You've got multiple sign companies seeing them on polls or understanding that their competitors are selling them or their friends in another market are selling them. All of a sudden, you're going to get some home run opportunities. So while we build our base as a company, and you will build your base in selling STAX on 3x5 or 3x6s and 4x8s, you're going to get some home run opportunities, and you're going to get a chance to quote 8x16s and 10x20s. And when you start doing that, these are $75,000 plus jobs. And so if you hit 1 or 2 home runs a year and you've got a decent base, you've all of a sudden, you're making 25 points on $700,000 in message center sales. And so it is not that you have to sell to everybody. It is not that you have to be the lowest price every time. It is not that you have to win every bid situation. It's just that you've got to find the right partners and know that, our preference is to have less sign shops selling more, right? That 80-20 rule carries the day, in our industry, much like anything else and with our product. But we don't want to compete on price every time, and you shouldn't want to either. We're going to be price competitive. We need to be, but we're not going to be the cheapest guys in the world every single time. We just want to find those companies that love the support, that know they can count on us, that are looking for jobs and are actively in the mix for winning jobs in their market. And all it takes is that reoccurring, and then you start hitting a couple home runs. And next thing you know, you've got a $250,000 in profit. And so that is really what success looks like selling, EMCs in this product specifically. I think that you'll find that you can have a lot of success with it, and using those benefits and features of this product and talking to the right people in, looking for the right opportunities. That's just kind of what we want you to know you have in front of you. So, man, I talked a lot. So do you guys have any questions about kind of what I went over? Or any questions about the hardware that we need to review or anything like that?
Yeah. Hey, Brett. This is Tracy Barfield.
Hey, Tracy.
Hey, yeah, on the demo program, how would that work? Is that, do you plan to maybe put something on the quote form where, how would that approval process work? And
Yeah. So the way that'll work actually is, so right now, and I kind of confirmed this with Larry yesterday. I don't know that we've had a national announcement or anything, but when you go through that quote form and it asks you what your module price is, $600 is your module price, what you should be selling to sign companies. Now, I say that as that is your base price. That is 25 points. That's a good profit margin. That's a place that you should be competitive in the market. Now, if a guy's going to be one of your $500,000 sellers, you may price him at 575 or 550 or whatever that number is. That is kind of for your internal sales team to determine and management to determine. But let's start at that 600 number. They'll get 40% off that. So that makes their module 360. So when you do your quote, you can just put in the $360.80 is what it is as the module price. And that would kick out the proper demo quote for your customer.
okay. All right, that sounds good. I mean, I'm really excited about this product, Brett. I mean, I think I'm all in on it, so much so that I've been accidentally spelling STAX with 2 X's.
Don't spell it with
yeah,
3.
I'm ready to go.
Don't go to the website with 3.
But I'm ready to go after it.
Hey, Brett, can I just relate a couple things that happened the last couple of days? We were out. Jay and myself were out with Tracy yesterday. We saw a few sign companies. We mainly saw Watchfire sign companies. The last one we went to, the guy said to us, the owner said, I'm a Watchfire guy, but after he saw the demo and everything, he said to Tracy, I want you to talk to my salesman. Basically, he didn't want to make the decision to go, he still wants to look like a good guy to Watchfire. And he can always say, my sales guy just sold that one. So that was a win, I think, in our world. Today we were at a sign company. Jay and I were, and the first thing the guy says, I'm loyal to Watchfire. So we stayed there with him for an hour and a half or so. Went through his shop. Great guy. Great 2 owners. And then they walked out and looked at our demo unit, and they were just like, they fell in love, and they asked Jay for a quote right there. So that's a way, just getting them to talk to you. You explain the product and let them know that we're going to be warehousing them in Orlando, that they can get them in a day if they need them. And they love that idea, and they love the simplicity of the idea versus the Watchfire. Now, will they go away from Watchfire 100%? I don't think so, but I think we're going to get opportunities to quote them. So the last thing I'll say is to sell this stuff here in Florida, to sell our STAX unit in Florida, we need to go out and just introduce it. And I want to meet with, if you can give me one day in the next few weeks just to go see 1 or 2 customers, I will introduce it for you if you just get me in front of them. If you don't have time to go out with me, if you could just give me introductions and I'll go see them, that's going to help you sell in the long run. And I think Tracy, he can attest to going out with us. It was a great opportunity doing it, and we enjoyed it. And I think the customers enjoyed it as well.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say.
Yeah, Kendall is a great resource, and I appreciated his help yesterday, and definitely can talk the game with the folks, and was definitely a great learning experience for me, who knew really nothing about this product. But I'm learning quickly, and I've already talked to Jay that I would like, seeing is believing with this. I could see that already as far as the customers wanting to see the product. So if there's any way we can get, whether it's a single module frame system or something to carry around to show customers what it looks like, as Kendall had a larger one in his truck. Something like that would be great for the sales force, And myself personally, I would think, each of us should have one. I think somebody had mentioned maybe having one in the office or something like that in Apopka, but we're spread out pretty good in Florida.
Mhm.
But if it was something that we each had that's really selling this product, that would be more advantageous, I think, and more efficient.
Yeah. I will tell you that demo provision will be part of things as we get rolling. Demos, just so you kind of can hear it from the story from my mouth. We've gone every which way. We have 9 demo trailers around the country. They've been used or not used in a variety of of ways, and they're 4x8s. 10 years ago, you really needed to show a demo because you needed to show the biggest demo you could to make the sign look as good as possible because it was low resolution and, people weren't that familiar with the concept. I'm finding more and more that we can sell, without a specific turned on demo, but you're absolutely right. That single frame and module is easy to manage. People know what a 9.5 millimeter sign looks like. Sign shops generally do now. It's the highest definition they're going to see outdoors. Realistically. And so just showing them the quality of the product is we're having a lot of success with that. We thought we were going to have to build 100 trailers and have all of you guys have one. But I mean, really, we're finding that just showing up and showing the quality of that, we will get you at least a something for the branch that you can plug in and turn on at any given moment, trade shows or meetings with customers. But demos are always a unique situation because if one guy shows up with a bigger one than the other, even if it's lower resolution, it might look better. So there's kind of some tricks to the business, but the more LEDs are out there and people drive by them every day and see them and sell them, the less that you have to show up with a big truck.
So Tracy, just to clarify, you're saying just having one module so they can grab it, they can touch it. You think that would help you out greatly? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I could already tell, some of them were looking at the power supply itself, whether it can be removed, and then they, just all enclosed, already, manufactured with the panel that it's not removable. Those type of things, and they see just the way it's made and how well it's made makes a big difference in it.
Hey, Kel, just to
If
kind of add
there's
on to what Tracy was saying. So even when we were talking about having just a one module sample, and a big thing that we want to go after is serious users, and as Kendall also mentioned yesterday, showing just the difference in our framing system. When we were talking about maybe a slight difference in price there would be, that framing system, the gentleman we were speaking with said that would make up for double the difference. So I think just being able to get people to have their hands on it. And then I don't know what the thought would be on maybe having one larger sample, at the branch that maybe when each of them would need to take with them. But also everybody remember too, I have a sample that I drive around with. So whenever I'm down here or if we have a customer, I could always meet you as well with our sample.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe it's something, I could, we could talk about it within our company and talk to Terry and see if that's something too, if sales reps need a small one, if the company needs to buy or something like that. But, I just think it'd be better for those that are selling to have one available. It's kind of, it's not real, for Angie to be on the West Coast and to go over to a Popka and grab a sample is, it's easier for me to do than it would be a lot more for her to do.
Right.
And so it just would make
I think what you saw, Tracy, yesterday and Jay today, all the people we showed our demo to, and I wanted to make it realistic for you, I never even turned it on. I only showed the frame and the module, and that was enough for them to get excited about it.
Yep, I've had the same circumstance, and after spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on demo trailers over the years, when I show up with one frame and one module that's 2 feet by 1 foot, and people are like, "Whoa!" They're more blown away just by that. I'm like, "Oh man, we've been spinning our wheels."
Yeah,
that's right, and I really believe that's all you really need out there. They get it, they understand it, they just want to know what it looks like. So I tried to make it as realistic as possible these last 2 days, even though I could have turned the thing on and showed them a picture. That's not going to, they don't even care about that. They really want to know about the SMD module or the module itself and the frame. That's really what they want to know. And then talk about the software, of course. I think that's what you saw yesterday and today.
Yeah, I mean, I think the software and the customer service is something that can't be overlooked. I mean, even today when we were having our meeting, Kendall, we saw, one of the things that we may come back to them with is, at first they were watch fire, watch fire, watch fire. They saw the product. And then we got, talking about doing a whole demo for their team to teach them how to use the software. They say they use Watchfire all the time, but they have really no idea how it works.
Mhm.
So I think, leaning on our customer service, and I think that's a big side besides just the actual, frame and product itself. I think the customer service and our software and how easy it is to use, especially once it's passed to the end user, is a big factor as well.
Brett, did you want to go over?
I think on the software today,
oh, go ahead, Kendall.
what I've been doing is just on the software. On the software, what we normally do is just pop it up, show them the doodle editor, and basically throw in a text box and a picture, and that satisfies them that it's a very.
Yeah, I will. As part of our toolbox, when we first did our launch, there was a little pre-cut 2-minute video that shows both the software and project content, kind of summarizes it. If you have a link to that, just pulling that out and showing that as a demo, it's hyper speed, so you don't need to get caught up doing the demo yourself. We're more than happy to do that for the right customer. But I found just pulling out my phone and showing that video as a sample of what the software is and what project content is a 2-minute explanation that was edited and cut and not tripped over. It works great.
Maybe Kale can.
Go ahead,
Maybe
Kendall.
Kale can send that out. I said maybe Kale can send that out. Just
Yeah.
a link of that, just so people see what we're talking about.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Brett, I just want to make sure you went over, what happens between now and April? What if, Angie, Tracy, Terry, Caesar, Christy, somebody gets someone they want to sign and they want to do the deal. What do we do until we get product in April, and how do we do that?
So you guys have the quoting tool. If you need help with it, let us know. If you need us to do it for you in the meantime, or you're out and about and you don't feel comfortable using it yet, we can kick out a quote. If we get a quote from your area, we're going to do it on your behalf, CC you on or CC somebody. I'm not sure that we've got everybody's geographic area correct, but we'll figure that out. We can get quotes. Our goal is to get quotes back to customers quickly. They will have shipping included, so it will be a drop ship ready quote. If somebody has a 4x6 and they need it in Fort Myers as soon as possible, we will prepare it. We'll work with your purchasing team to get us a purchase order, and we'll execute it, just as a one-off, direct ship.
Yeah, so just as a clarification, I just modified the quoting tool today so that until April, so you can still do business if someone's ready to go. When you run that quote, it's going to automatically calculate shipping based off of how big the sign is from Wichita to wherever they're going. And like Brett just said, then we would drop ship it to them. So we don't want you guys feeling like you can only introduce it, but if someone's really ready to go, we don't want to hold you back. So
That's great. Yeah, because my 1x4 I quoted today, I wasn't really sure about $15 a square foot on a 1x4 didn't seem like enough on freight, so I bumped it up. But it takes out that guessing game if it's already. So we're not going to put kind of freight at all on the quotes moving forward.
You will have freight, but you won't have to guess at it. We're just going to hard code it. We'll take a loss on some of it. We'll take a win on very little of it. Freight's a guessing game as it is right now. So we're just going to try to make it simple. We're not going to let $100 here and there stand in our way. We just want to give you guys the opportunity to sell now if it's out there for you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so
And
Tracy, I just want to clarify, don't pad your mod price right now for shipping, because I've already hard coded it into the calculation.
Yeah, use
Okay.
that $600 a module.
All right, gotcha.
Well, Tracy,
And-
did we
and
do the quote today at 615 or 600?
I did that at 600.
Okay.
Yeah,
And the good news is-
that might be a good one to go back. I mean, if I was to talk to them about the demo program type of thing? Is that something that, you know, you do after the fact and could talk to them about it and just resubmit the quote at that price?
Yeah,
Well,
if it's a demo, resubmit the quote at 360.80.
Okay.
And the good news, guys, is that we have about, I would say, I think in Tampa, we have about 15 quotes out right now that are serious quotes. And then I think Jay did one or two today. And I think Tracy, you've done a couple, and that's just very little work at it. So it's just getting out there. And I think our next step, what I would like to do is I'm going to start contacting you tomorrow, trying to set up times with you. So I think everybody's email address and their cell phone number. So I'm going to start calling you guys tomorrow and see where I can hook up with you and kind of take an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever you give me on your schedule, at least see one or two customers in your area.
I'll add one last thing too. I just put in the chat 2 links. One is to the toolbox that has everything again. But I just today updated, we have it now in digital form, is our new STAX brochure, okay, with our rebranding and everything. We're getting those printed as we speak, but they're not done yet. And we'll get those hard copies to you. But once again, we don't want to slow you guys down. So that second link I sent you is actually to the PDF of the new brochure. So if when you're talking to somebody and you wanted to leave them with something, or just email them then or after the fact, that's something you could attach just as another piece to help out.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for your time again. We will, we're always here in the studio. So if you have a one-on-one and you can't get with Kendall and you can't get out in the field, or maybe you've got a customer, 3 hours away that you don't need to drive to, give us a holler. We'll do this one-on-one, we'll show them the product live, and answer their questions direct from their mouth too. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, we'll continue to follow up with information. We're always here for questions every day, all day, every day and night. And then we'll plan on seeing you guys, it sounds like, at the end of March too.